Warning: some of the things shown in this video might render your Orba inoperable if executed incorrectly. If that happens, connect the Orba to your computer by USB cable and start the Orba app. This should reinstall the firmware. You have been warned. Proceed with caution.
Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Today, let's take a look at Orba hacking. So the Orba is this interesting synth gadget. 4 MIDI channels, 4 voices each, can be used as a sequencer, can play back samples and a virtual analog synth, but the accompanying software leaves a little bit to wish for. So today, let's take a look at what you can do to add the sounds, the drum sounds, and upload your own samples using a text editor and the original Orba app on a Windows computer. Here we go.
So, Orba 2 is a synth gadget that has a 4-track sequencer. Each track holds one 4-voice polyphonic instrument, so you can play up to 4 different sounds at once. You can use either a virtual analog synth or a set of samples for each channel. Let's begin with the obvious stuff. A while ago, Artiphone released an editor for the synth sounds. You can download that from the webpage, install it, and start editing right away. As you can see here, the synth has 2 oscillators per voice and has some neat tricks up its sleeve. For example, you can shape the square or the saw waves to triangle waves using an envelope. The same applies to pulse width modulation. There's the usual LFO control in the mixer, ring modulation and the noise generator here. You can use up to 2 envelopes and assign them to 1 oscillator each. Switch between high-pass and low-pass filters here. The filter can react to velocity and you can apply its own envelope if needed. Here's a waveguide section that gives you 2 models to choose from, string and pipe. This can be applied gradually and will add interesting harmonic overtones to your sound. On the gesture mapping page, you can apply various control changes to the XYZ controllers of the Orba. Last but not least, you can apply a bit of reverb and delay to your sounds, but in my experience, better don't do that. These effects are not much to write home about. Better use an external effects device. Now go ahead and save that patch as a lead sound. Normally, this should directly change the sound on your Orba device, but in my experience, it didn't. So now open up a file explorer and then open Drive C on your Windows computer, and from there go to the users folder, then to your personal account folder, then to the app data folder, then roaming Artiphone Orba presets. You should see your patch file there now. Copy it and then change to the drive's root folder once again, but this time open the public folder, then public documents, Artiphone common presets. Now paste your file into the lead folder. You have to change the file name extension from .orbasound to .artisound. Now fire up the Orba app on Windows again and you should see your lead patch there. Transfer it to your Orba by clicking the play button, and congratulations, you have now created your first Orba patch. Next up are the chords. So if you want to use your own chord progression in Orba's chord mode, you will need a text editor. I used Notepad++ here, it's free and it's quite powerful. Now what you want to do is to make a copy of an existing patch that uses the C major scale in chord mode. Still in the public folder, for example, make a copy of the Orba and Chill patch here, and now rename that copy. The file name convention here is paginame _ hexadecimal number. Increment that number by 1, change the patch name to your liking, and then open up that file in your text editor. What you want to do here is to change the UUID entry to that hexadecimal number, so just change the last digit here, and you can also change the patch's name and its description here. Now load that patch file you created previously into your editor as well. Select the part that is marked synth patch and copy it into your new chord file, overwriting the old value, like this. Be careful to get all the XML stuff right so no brackets are left open. Now scroll down a bit and look at the chord modifier params entry. In there you will find a list of major and minor chords. The notes in the chords are separated by commas and the chords are separated by semicolons. For example, the first entry here reads 0, 5, 12, 8. This means looking at the keyboard and reading the notes from left to right, starting looking at C, this chord will play C, F, C2 and G sharp. So this should be an F minor chord, and yes, indeed it is. Knowing this, we can now add all the chords we want to in this list. Be aware that the notations are relative to the root note here, so the second chord's root note is D, the third chord's root note is E, and so on, so the numbers you enter will work in relation to that note. One thing I found here is that if you use a different format on the sequelist entry, you will make the Orba treat the chord section just like other channels, so you can play your chords just by pressing multiple keys. Okay, with that under the belt, let's move on to the drums. Go to the drums folder in the public folder once again and copy an existing patch, for example the all out patch here. Once again, rename this, changing the hexadecimal number, and load this into your text editor. As you can see, Orba uses its own drum synthesizer, and per drum sound you can change a number of parameters here. You can try changing some of these parameters and see what results you will get, or you can just create a collection of your favorite drum sounds from other patches. The sounds are in order of their appearance on the Orba's keyboard, so the first one is a bass drum, the second one is a snare drum, and so on. For example, I got this interesting double snare sound using the values you can see on screen right now. Press like and subscribe if you want me to program a drum editor and a chord editor for the Orba. Last but not least, let's take a look at sampled instruments. The Orba has an option to record sounds in the app and play them back chromatically on the keyboard, but if you go the extra mile, you can also create your own multisample. For this, copy one of the patches that use samples, for example the Vox preset. Now create a new folder inside the Artiphone basic directory and drop your samples there. They need to be mono, 84 kHz, 16-bit PCM. Name your samples using the patch name plus hexadecimal number convention and then edit the XML file. Now take a look at the sample set command. Adjust the number of brackets and nodes there. For example, if your set contains 5 samples, make sure the velocity threshold and sample map values contain 5 brackets and the sample sound entries reflect that. You'll have to end up with 5 sample sound entries describing the file name and the subdirectory correctly. After that, restart the Orba app and upload your sound, and there you have it, your first sampled instrument. Now, all of this would be easier if we had editors for this, and in case of the synth, editors that worked as expected. But, as it is, you're left with XML coding for the moment. There have been some attempts by the Orba community to create editors, but as the specifications have changed, results might vary. I'll post some links in this video's description if you're interested.
By the way, if you like content like this, and if you want to see more on synth gadgets like the Orba in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. Seeing the subscriber numbers grow makes me happy and keeps me motivated to push out new videos every week or so. And if you want to support what I'm doing here financially, you can become a channel member using the button under this video, or join my Patreon. Link is in this video's description. Thank you very much. So that's the Orba 2, a neat synth gadget that can do a lot of things that are pretty useful. And it doesn't sound bad at all, especially considering the price. So why I'm sending it back?
Well, the answer to that is my Orba only turns on occasionally, and mostly if I connect it to the USB port of my computer, then start the Orba app, then wait for a minute, then unplug the USB cable, and then immediately after that try to turn on the Orba. 90% of the times it will turn on, but sometimes it won't turn on. And of course, this is completely unacceptable, and browsing the Orba forums, I can see a lot of users have experienced this problem. It's quite common, so this one goes back to the vendor. Let's see if Artiphone has to say something about this.
Yeah, and that's it for today. I hope you found this interesting and useful, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, thanks for watching, and see you again very, very soon. Bye bye!